Let's start Lesson 2, Knowledge on Traffic Rules and Regulation. You will learn in this lesson the following topics: road signs, road markings, traffic controls at intersections, speed limits, give way to pedestrians, turning, roundabout, changing lanes and overtaking, prohibition in parking. Objectives. By the end of the lesson, learner drivers will be able to explain types of road signs, road markings, and controls at intersections, correct method applied in roundabouts and junctions, prohibitions in parking. Purpose of traffic rules and regulations. What are road rules? Road rules are traffic laws that are there to help you and other road users stay safe on the road. Note, the provisions of the law are applicable to all road users. You must obey the laws and rules of the road. Road signs. A sign giving information or instructions to road users. Road signs provide visual information to help control and regulate the flow of traffic and help to keep you and other road users safe. This is very important in Dubai as road networks are becoming more complex. Traffic volumes are increasing. The number of visitors to Dubai who are unfamiliar with the roads is increasing each year. Road signs are placed on over or next to a public road where they fulfill an important need, command attention, provide a clear and simple message, provide sufficient time for road users to respond appropriately. Important rule: every road user must respect the traffic regulations and standards, follow the signs, signals and instructions of the police officer and behave cautiously, so his conduct will not harm others, expose them to danger or block their movement. Road signs provide information to road users in three ways: as a regulation or road law which must be obeyed by law, as a warning, as a guide. Regulatory signs. Regulatory signs are used to control the actions of road users. They tell you what you must or must not do. Failure to obey a sign is an offense. The types of regulatory signs are: control signs, show right of way, priority or direction of travel. Mandatory signs, indicate actions that must be taken. Prohibitory signs, indicate prohibited actions or objects. Parking control signs, regulate parking and stopping. Freeway control signs, indicate roads classified as freeways. You are breaking the law if you do not follow these signs. The only exception is when a police officer is directing traffic and he must be obeyed. Regulatory signs can be blue and white or red and white. Control signs. Control signs are used to assign right of way, priority or direction of travel. Here are some examples of control signs. Mandatory signs. Mandatory signs are used to indicate to road users actions which they must take. Here are some examples of mandatory signs. Prohibitory signs. These signs are used to indicate to road users actions that they must not take, or which are prohibited. Here are some examples of prohibitory signs. Parking control signs. These signs are used to control and regulate stopping and parking, where you may park or must not park or stop, and provide time restrictions. They may be referred to as no stopping sign. You must not park in this area, even if you are sitting in the vehicle. Here are some examples of parking control signs. Handicapped parking. The blue sign below shows an area reserved for parking by handicapped people. The parking bay will also be marked. Handicapped people must obtain a permit and display this. If you do not have a permit, you must not park in handicapped parking spaces. Freeway control signs. Freeway control signs are used to indicate to road users which roads are classified as a freeway. They show the start and end of freeways. Important rules on freeway. Beginning of freeway sign shall mean that except in case of emergency, no person shall operate a non-motorized vehicle on or near a freeway. Walk on foot on or near the freeway. Stop or reverse your vehicle. Drive at a speed unsafe for the lane you are traveling in. Stop, park or drive on a shoulder, central divider, or roadside area. Speed less than 60 km per hour. End of freeway sign removes all the above restrictions. Warning signs. Warning signs alert road users to potentially hazardous conditions. Sometimes these hazards are hidden. Warning signs are divided into 3 groups. Advance warning signs. Hazard marker signs. Diagrammatic warning signs. Advance warning signs. These signs provide road users with an early warning of hazards or potential hazards. Here are some examples of advance warning signs. Hazard marker signs. Hazard marker signs identify physical hazards, such as a bridge structure, guardrails or traffic islands. The signs below provide some examples of hazard marker signs. Here are examples of hazard marker signs. Diagrammatic warning signs. These signs are used where the triangular advance warning sign does not allow enough room for a picture, or are not big enough to draw attention to the hazard ahead. They are usually on high-speed roads and fall into the following general categories. Traffic movement is affected by an obstruction. The obstruction may be real or anticipated. An additional lane is ahead. The use of the lane is regulated, for example, a lane for trucks only. Lanes merge. Here are some examples of diagrammatic warning signs. Guide signs. Guide signs provide direction. They include information about route numbers, street names and destinations, and are generally in both Arabic and English. These signs enable drivers to find their destinations. Avoid confusing drivers with too much information. Present drivers with predictable information. Give drivers advance notice so that directional changes can be made safely. The colors that are used in the background of guide signs are blue, located on national routes and include the Emirates route emblem. Green, located on local Dubai routes and include the Dubai route emblem. White, these show local points, roads or destinations. Brown, provide additional information including symbols to describe the destination. Emblem used in guide signs. E-routes emblem. Highways connecting Dubai to other Emirates are designated Emirates routes or E-routes. They are identified by an emblem of a falcon, the letter E and a 2 or 3-digit number. D routes emblem. D routes connect localities within the city of Dubai and are identified by the emblem of a fort, the letter D and a 2 or 3-digit number. Trailblazing guide signs. Trailblazing signs have distinctive and recognizable symbols on them and are placed along a route to guide and reassure drivers that they are on the correct road to reach their required destination. This is known as trailblazing. A picture of an airplane is an example of a trailblazing symbol. Trailblazing signs are only used in certain destinations. Exit direction signs. The sign below is an example of an advanced guide sign including the route emblems, trailblazing symbols and directional information. The meaning of the sign is explained below. The signs below are examples of exit direction sign to guide drivers on the proper lanes to take prior to exit. The white exit panel means that particular lane is to be dropped and is moving away from the main line's carriageway. Other important traffic signs. Here are some examples of other important signs. Road markings. Road markings provide visual information to road users to help control and regulate the flow of traffic. As with road signs, road markings help to keep you and other road users safe on the road and must be obeyed where required. Road markings will be either yellow or white. There are 3 types of road markings. Regulatory, these road markings must be obeyed by law. Warning, these road markings should be observed appropriately as they serve as warnings of hazardous driving conditions ahead. Guidance, these road markings help guide your travel. Important rule. Every road user must respect the traffic regulations and standards, follow the signs, signals and instructions of the police officer and behave cautiously, so his conduct will not harm others, expose them to danger or block their movement. Regulatory road markings. These road markings tell you what actions you can or cannot do. They will be either white or yellow. You must obey these road markings. You are breaking the law if you do not. No passing line. This is a solid line on the road as shown in the diagram below. You must not cross this line to overtake another vehicle or to turn except in the case of an emergency. Box junctions. Large intersections are marked with a large yellow box with diagonal squares. This is known as a box junction. It is to indicate to drivers that they must not block the intersection when traffic is heavily congested. Signs will warn drivers not to queue across the intersection. Warning road markings. Warning road markings advise drivers of potentially hazardous conditions. Rumble strips. Lines painted or raised strips across the road known as rumble strips warn drivers that may have any potential hazard ahead such as roundabout, pedestrian crossing or bridge etc. Drivers can see the rumble strips hearing rumble and feel the vibration if they drive over them. This acts as a warning. It is helpful for drivers on a long drive who may be feeling tired or sleepy if they have not had a rest. Rumble strip before speed humps. Broken yellow lines completely across the full width of the road and shoulder warn motorists that there was a speed hump in the roadway. Speed hump warning signs will be used to give advance warning about the speed hump. Guidance road markings. These road markings help drivers understand the paths vehicles should follow through intersections or roundabouts. Double yellow lines, solid on one side and broken on the other. You can only cross these lines to overtake another vehicle, or to enter or leave the road, if the broken line is on your side. You must not cross these lines if the solid line is on your side. Traffic lane arrows. Arrows are painted on the road in the middle of lanes at some intersections. They show the direction in which traffic in these lanes must travel. Bus and taxi lane. Priority lanes for public transport buses and taxis. Roads and Transport Authority has taken bold steps in improving the mobility of public transportation in Dubai. Among those steps taken is the allocation of exclusive lanes for Dubai-registered public transport buses and taxis. The only other vehicles allowed to use these exclusive lanes are the police cars, ambulance and other emergency services vehicles. Any driver caught illegally using these lanes will be fined. Your driving experience in Dubai will include traveling through many intersections, both large and small. These intersections will be controlled by traffic signals or signs or, in the case of a blackout, may not have traffic signals or signs operating. Some intersections, such as those with large roundabouts, have flashing yellow signals to warn drivers of the danger and to tell them to be particularly careful. Traffic control signals. Traffic signals regulate the flow of traffic by giving priority to different traffic streams, including pedestrian road users. However, many drivers and other road users make mistakes, so you need to stay alert at any intersections, even those controlled by traffic signals. A red signal means you must stop. Do not enter the intersection. A yellow signal means almost the same as red, you must stop if safe to do so. A green signal means you may proceed if safe to do so. Speed limits. Speed limit signs tell you the maximum and, in some cases, the minimum speeds you can drive when driving condition is good. You must choose what is the safest speed within the limit and the driving conditions you are faced with. Current Dubai rules for speed limits are as follows, unless you see a sign that tells you otherwise. Parking area or service road, 25 km per hour. Urban single carriageway, 40 km per hour. Urban dual carriageway, 60 km per hour or 80 km per hour assigned. Rural roads, 100 km per hour. Freeways, 120 km per hour light vehicles, 80 km per hour heavy vehicles. Minimum speed 60 km per hour. Note, posted speed limits on the road are overruled by speed limits shown on the variable message sign VMs on that same road. Important rule. You must not drive a vehicle at a rate of speed greater than the one shown on the sign. Respect the speed limit in any situation and be capable of slowing down and stopping safely. Give way to pedestrians. People living in Dubai come from all corners of the world. Some pedestrians may actually look at the wrong direction when crossing the roads. This might be because they are used to cars coming from the right side of the road instead of left side. The rate of pedestrian fatalities in Dubai is high. Pedestrian traffic signals. As a road user, pedestrians must obey the pedestrian traffic signals. As a driver, you need to watch out if pedestrians do not obey the traffic signals. Be careful of pedestrians who try to beat the traffic signals and cross when it is not safe for them to do so. Important rule. When turning left or right at any intersection, you must give way to any pedestrians crossing the road you are turning into. Turning. Plan your turn early. Decide which lane you need to be in well in advance and ensure that you have positioned your vehicle so that you are in the correct lane as you approach the intersection. You must signal your intentions when you are changing lanes to position yourself correctly and as you are carrying out the turn. Do not force your way and remember, no one has a right of way. The rules relate to who must give way. Remember, road users can make mistakes about who should give way. Always make eye contact with other drivers so that you know they have seen you. Roundabouts. A roundabout is an intersection with a roundabout sign at each entrance, a central island and one or more marked lanes, or lines of traffic. All vehicles have to travel in the same direction. You should always keep to the right of the central island. The sign means you must travel around the roundabout in an anti-clockwise direction. As with other turning maneuvers, good planning is important when there is a roundabout on your route. They can be complex and you must know where you are going. It is important that you select the correct lane as you approach a roundabout and be clear which lane to take for exit. Check the directional signs along the route. Know exactly which lane you should be in to reach your destination and move into this lane early. Once you have selected the correct lane and are about to enter the roundabout, you must give way to all vehicles already in it moving towards you from the left. Only enter the roundabout when it is safe to do so. In roundabouts, good steering control, correct speed, indicators and mirrors are very important so you do not confuse other drivers about where you are intending to travel. If lanes are painted on the road, it is critical that you stay in the correct one for your intended position after the roundabout. While negotiating roundabout, it is important to keep in lane and exit from roundabout in correspondence lane. Leave the next lane for other vehicle to avoid any crash such as shown in this video. Changing lanes and overtaking. The roads you drive on will vary. You may drive on a two-way road with traffic heading in opposite directions. At other times you will drive on multiple lane freeways where there are a number of lanes of traffic headed in the same direction. When you are driving on these roads, there will be times when you may want to change lanes, for example to exit from a freeway or to overtake a slow-moving vehicle. Important rule. You must make sure that there is sufficient space in front of you to see whenever you intend to overtake a vehicle, a person, an animal or a traffic blockage. You must also use indicators alert others of your intention to overtake. Crashes may occur if you do not take the time to plan ahead. Think about what you want to do before you do it and plan for it. Changing lanes. There are many multiple lane roads in Dubai, with more being built to cope with increased traffic demand. Changing lanes on these roads must be performed carefully. To change lanes you need to plan what you are going to do well ahead. Check the position of vehicles ahead, behind and to your sides. Signal early, as this warns other drivers and allows them to plan what they need to do. Be aware that the driver in the vehicle in front of you may signal to change lanes at the same time. In this case, you should wait until the driver in front completes his move to another lane. Changing lanes. When you have checked that it is safe to change lanes, make sure you check your mirrors. Signal to the right or left, giving sufficient warning to other drivers of your intentions. Check your mirrors again. Check your blind spot by doing a head check to the right or left. Control your speed as you may need to maintain, increase or decrease your speed depending on the traffic conditions. Once you are completely in the new lane, remember to check your mirrors again and cancel your indicator. In making a head check to check your blind spot, do not take your eyes off the road ahead for more than a second. Overtaking. Overtaking on a two-way road. Overtaking on a two-way road is very similar to a lane change, except much more dangerous because you will need to drive on the wrong side of the road for quite a long time. Signal to the right or left, giving sufficient warning to other drivers of your intentions. Check your mirrors again. Vehicles traveling in the opposite direction are now directly ahead of you and are moving very quickly toward you. It is not safe to overtake on bends, at junctions or on the crest of a hill. So before you overtake, ask yourself, do I really need to overtake? Will it make a difference to my journey if I just stay in my lane? Am I permitted by law to overtake? Will my overtaking cause other traffic to alter speed or position? Is it safe? There are two parts to overtaking. Pulling out onto the other side of the road. Moving back onto the correct side of the road. Important rule. You must not overtake at the following places. Where the road is not clearly visible. When the movement of traffic in the opposite direction doesn't allow you to proceed safely. At intersections and roundabouts. When vehicles stop due to movement of traffic obstruction or due to a stop sign. On curves, crests of hills, slippery roads, next to pedestrians crossings and roads with solid long lines. In places where the signs forbid drivers to overtake. Parking. As a driver, you will need to park your car. This may be in your own driveway, outside your place of work, at the shopping center or at your place of worship. Parking is not as easy as it seems. You may need to park your car on a quiet residential street or on a heavily congested road. Take note of the important points described in the road safety message below. You must obey parking signs and road markings in that area that tell you how to park your car and how long you can stay there. This will help to prevent you from being a hazard to other road users or getting a parking fine. Important rule. A person must not cause a hazard to any person or vehicle by opening a door of a vehicle or leaving a door of a vehicle open. Before you park, ask yourself, have I chosen a safe and legal place to park? Can I park my car safely without blocking or hindering other traffic or road users? Do I have a clear view of the traffic coming from behind as well as the traffic traveling alongside the left of my vehicle? Can I be seen by other drivers? Stopping and parking rules. There are a number of places where you must not stop or park your vehicle. If you do park in these areas, you could be a hazard to other road users and will be fined. Important rule: you must not park a vehicle at places where there is no permission to park. At pedestrian crossings, on the footpath, on bridges, viaducts or in tunnels. Next to curves, on crests of hills or next to solid center lines which cannot be crossed. Where it will impede any traffic signals, signs or road markings. In front of the entrance to houses, parking areas, petrol stations, hospitals, emergency stations, fire stations, police stations, military areas, schools or educational institutions. Places where you will block stationary vehicles from proceeding. Residential areas if driving a heavy vehicle or heavy mechanical vehicle unless they are used for construction. 15 meters from intersections or in front of public transport stations. Final check test for lesson number 2. 70% of total questions must be answered correctly before you proceed to next lesson.